Madagascar is an island located southeast of Africa, consisting of about 20.1 million people. It has a main island with some smaller islands around it. It is a biodiversity hotspot in which the majority of the wildlife in the world is found. These rainforests are usually found on the east coast and typically have tropical weather, rainy and hot. Along with the dense rainforest, Madagascar has mountains where the temperatures tend to be cooler. In addition to that, there is a strip of desert located through the center of the island where it is drier and has higher temperatures. The desert is host to plants and a variety of animal species that aren't seen anywhere else in the world, which make it a great place for tourists. The population of Madagascar is about 20.1 million people, which compared to the US's 311.5 billion isn't much. The country itself is not overpopulated. However, with the vast amounts of rainforest compared to the villagers, this leads me into the only real issue occurring in Madagascar: the deforestation. The population is increasing by approximately 2.7% each year, which wouldn't be a problem if the people weren't tearing apart the island's beautiful forests. Since deforestation costs Madagascar between $100 to $300 million in decreased crop yields and loss of productive forests, having less people live in the country could prevent the future decrease in crops and beneficial forests. Madagascar has an abundance of natural resources ranging from things like graphite, coal, iron, cobalt, copper, and nickel to various stones such as sapphires and diamonds. Along with that, there are agricultural resources like vanilla, cloves, coffee, rice, and shrimp. The gemstones that Madagascar produces are mostly exported to Europe, US, and Japan. Most of the income that the country makes is from trade exports and imports. Madagascar's main export buyers are France, US, Germany, Italy, and the UK. Although there are many resources that Madagascar has that could help them become prosperous, the country has a low GDP of 8.7 billion because there are environmental issues going on which affect the greatest potential of the country's production. The currency of Madagascar is an arai, and $1 is equivalent to 2,122.05 Malagasy arai. Speaking of money, this brings me to the country's current state of poverty, which is definitely repairable. This poverty trap is mainly due to the poor environmental situation where farmers cannot rely on crop production for their income and families cannot depend on it for food, fuel, medicine, and income in general. By having the community help to conserve the forest for future generations, the poverty rate would go down and the economy would improve as well. Even though the country is not in a good state currently, there is definitely much hope for the future since the country has the resources it needs to make money and the country just needs to return to where there's a smaller population so less deforestation was happening. Another issue is that there are poor agricultural methods, which cause soil to erode and soil quality to decline, and this threatens the basis of survival for Madagascar's people. As for the business aspect of Madagascar, the majority of it revolves around mineral resources, trading mainly diamonds, coffee, and vanilla, but coal, bauxite, graphite, chromite, and sugar have also been a very good export market. Although the country's economy may be doing okay, it still has a small debt of about $4 billion, which might be high, but compared to the many countries like the US, it is not too bad. This debt mainly comes from borrowing on the international market. The many strengths of Madagascar include the tourist rate, where people from around the world are attracted to the natural parks and unique diversity of the island. Along with that, the strength of Madagascar is that there is much potential for the country to make money from the vast amounts of resources. There is a high source of income in the country that comes from the gemstone mining. Rio Tinto Group is a corporation that for years has been a great help to the economy. When it comes to the health in Africa, it's not doing very well. All throughout Madagascar, there is an issue with the spread of malaria and the lack of clean water. Less than 65% of the country has clean water. In the last decade, there was much done to improve the state of health and fight AIDS. Like the African Development Bank used $20 million to help fund the fight against AIDS, and these efforts, as well as from the previous reforms, made a big difference in the spread of AIDS, considering today this isn't much of an issue in Madagascar. There is still more to improve, but there is no doubt that with the effort and money, the country's health can get better quickly. Lastly, I would like to talk briefly about the education in Madagascar. There are a number of schools, colleges, and universities where students can attend. It is mandatory for kids ages 6 to 14 to attend school, and the literacy rate in Madagascar is about 64%, and it's improving. Now I'm going to explain why it is worth investing your money in Madagascar. Although there are some weaknesses in the country, as I talked about earlier, like their deforestation, poverty, and poor health, there are many positives, which make those faults irrelevant. Madagascar has many great tourist sites, ranging from their national parks to simply viewing their rare plant species. The tourist rate is continuously improving at around 10% each year, contributing millions of dollars to Madagascar's GDP. Along with that, there are an abundance of natural resources, which are worth a lot of money, and many people are interested in. Since countries are continuously wanting the resources, it helps boost Madagascar's economy, and by investing in Madagascar, this will end up being your future striving economy.